Hi, this is my 16.3 coaching session review and development plan. So my coaching preparation, our participants were aged 8 to 9, they're mixed gender and ability, and there were about 8 to 10 participants there. The location where we did it was at Carden Primary School, and the equipment I needed was cones, bibs, batons, relay batons, tape measure, whistle, and a stopwatch. So the main session aim was to develop the skill of a changeover, then to improve the fluidity when doing it at speed, and to do a competitive 45-meter race towards the end. And my objectives were to complete an effective warm-up, make a skill-related game, practice the changeover at different speeds, and complete an effective cooldown. So here's my risk assessment. You can just pause it and read through these. Warm up, main activity, the cooldown, the plenary. So my aim and objectives. So my session aim, I feel like it was achieved. As I developed the skill of a changeover to the participants, and then I improved the fluidity whilst performing the skill. For example, at the start they were running into each other and wasting time when they tried to change over, and after I taught it to them, they were much faster at receiving and weren't bumping into each other at all. I also achieved setting up and developing the 45-meter race 3 times. So overall I feel I achieved my aims. The objectives, I feel I completed most of my objectives, as I completed the thorough warm-up, which included the pulse raiser, dynamic stretches, and the skill-based activity. And at the end, I know I completed this because at the end I asked participants if they felt their muscles were warm, and they replied yes. I also completed practicing the changeover at different speeds, so I started at walking, then jogging, then running. And I also feel I achieved the thorough cooldown, the static stretches, and just slowing everything down. But I thought I didn't achieve a thorough debriefing, as we ran out of time and everyone was quite rushed. Yeah. So on to my session SWOT analysis. My planning strengths were organisation for the warm-up and the cool-down, so I delivered the warm-up and cool-down well, I thought, and organising all the equipment and all the participants into where they needed to go and what we needed to do, I felt went well. My delivery, I thought that I was good at motivating the children and the participants, and I was good at demonstrating the relay and everything I needed to show them. For my weaknesses, I feel like my planning weaknesses was the detailed research, and that we ran out of time. At the end I could have done a better debriefing. And for my weaknesses in my delivery, I feel I was overpraising a bit, so saying well done a bit where it wasn't needed, or saying well done when I should have said here's what you need to do instead, if they were doing it wrong. My body language and my confidence I felt could have been better. And my opportunities, I could have done a level 1 coaching course and a first aid course, but there are some threats for this, such as time, money, location, and age. So the level 1 coaching course I found, the location was Hampshire, which is quite far away, and the cost was £245, although some clubs will pay for athletes to do the course if they're interested. The dates, it was a 2-day course for 1st and 2nd July of 2017, with no assessments at the end needed, and the minimum age was 16. And level 2 coaching in the running fitness course I found was at Linsport and Leisure Park in Green Park Avenue, and that would cost £420 on the 22nd and 23rd of July 2017, and minimum age was 18, so I couldn't do that one. Reviewing my strengths, I felt demonstration was one of my strengths, so demonstrating the relay changeover and demonstrating like when they kept running into each other, demonstrating that they needed to start running earlier and to improve the fluidity. I felt that was one of my strengths. I felt I had a loud voice and I was able to communicate with the participants. So if they're far away and I needed their attention, I could shout for them and they'd all be listening and they could all hear my voice and they weren't struggling to hear what I needed to say to them. And the final strength I thought was my organisation. I thought I organised the participants and all the equipment and all the session really well altogether. For my review for the first area of improvement and what I could do to develop that, I feel like it was the research. I didn't really take much time to research the correct technique for the changeover, and my teaching points were quite brief and they weren't in much depth. This meant during the session the participants were not executing the skill like fully correctly, and then they were confused about how to do it, which then took more time for me to explain than I expected, resulting in wasted time and less time at the end for the debriefing, as I said. And how to develop that, to improve my knowledge of coaching points, I need to do some research of the skill and pick out some coaching points, 3 coaching points to show and make sure that they're clear and understandable for the participants to learn from. And I could also ask the local athletics club to observe my session and see how for me to observe their session, and I could see how they teach and the coaching points that they use for their athletes when teaching them. For my SMART targets, so in 2 months I'd like to be able to lead another session, being able to use 3 clear, concise coaching points for the changeover, that they need to be specific to the activity. I also want to be able to begin to teach the participants self-evaluate during the sessions, so like looking at themselves and their changeover and what they're doing, and be able to tell if it's right or wrong and how to improve it. And then also my aim is to be able to ask them what they think went right and what needs improving. Like getting feedback from them around like the coaching points and how I delivered the session. The second area for improvement and development plan could be giving more time for each activity that was needed. So I feel like I gave too much time because they were getting bored and they had already developed the skill. So they went through really quickly and did the skill in less time than I thought they would take. This meant that they lost focus as they were just repeating the technique over and over again, doing the same thing all the time, and just losing interest and losing focus. So to develop that, I think I need to improve this. I need to take into consideration the speed at which everyone learns, so how quickly everyone learns, because obviously some participants and children learn different speeds to others. But when everyone understands and has the correct technique, I need to be ready to move on and not keep going to the time span that I prepared for. My SMART target for that, my aim is to complete the sports leaders course in 1 month, as it will massively help me run my own sessions. It will just give me more insight into what's the right way to do things and a little bit more experience as well. And after the course, I like to run another session with a mixed skill ability. I'll be able to understand when everyone's learnt the skill to move on and not just keep going. Therefore, at the end of the session, I want to get feedback from the participants on how it went and how they thought I managed each activity and the time I spent on them. So if I wasn't taking too long or if I went through too quickly. The third area for improvement and development, I thought overpraising. So during the session, as I said, I thought I overpraised the participants too much, whether this was because I didn't fully understand the technique myself or I felt like it was a motivating tool. I feel I was definitely giving too much praise for the children and the participants, and instead I should have been looking in more detail as to what's the right technique and to show them how to do it. Therefore, this meant that the participants weren't improving because they thought they were doing right, as I kept saying, and they might not have been actually doing it right, but I was just saying that to praise them. And to develop this, and what I'm planning to do is to improve, is I need to attend a local athletics club and watch the relay session to understand when they give praise to participants and when not. So if they do the technique in a certain way, if it's good or bad. And then my smart targets for that is I want to be able to observe local clubs and coaches for about 2 months, and then I want to feel comfortable and confident in praising the participant when appropriate, and if it's not appropriate to, then not to praise them. I will only praise when a participant shows one of the 3 coaching points that I'm going to research into, and this is the aim of the session, and I'll ensure I don't, I'll be sure that I don't overpraise. However, this will also make them feel good when they actually do something right, instead of me just keep saying well done, because it will lose the emphasis otherwise. And that's it. Thank you.